Two brothers, same house growing up, same parents, same schools, same opportunities handed to them at every turn. They even ended up in similar careers, earning nearly identical salaries across their entire working lives. At 65, one brother retired with $1.4 million in investments, a fully paid-off house, and the kind of financial freedom most people only dream about. He spends winters in Arizona. He helps his grandchildren with college costs. He never even glances at prices on a restaurant menu. The other brother retired with $180,000 in savings, a mortgage still 12 years from being paid off, and a low-grade financial anxiety that follows him everywhere. He works part-time at a hardware store because Social Security doesn't quite cover his bills. He lies awake at night doing the math on whether he can afford both his medications and his property taxes this month. Same DNA, same upbringing, same earning power, radically different lives. And here's what will keep you watching. The moment their paths diverged didn't happen in their 20s when they were too young and too broke to build anything meaningful. It didn't happen in their 30s when both were deep in the trenches of careers and young families. And it didn't happen in their 50s. By then, the trajectory was already locked in. It happened entirely in their 40s. One brother made a series of decisions during that decade that seemed unremarkable at the time. The other made different decisions that also seemed unremarkable. Neither one realized in the middle of living it that they were determining the entire shape of everything that came after. I'm Johnny, and today I'm going to show you exactly why your 40s carry this kind of outsized, almost frightening importance. What specific decisions separate a comfortable retirement from a stressful one, and what you can do right now, regardless of your age, to make sure you end up on the right side of this divide. Let's start with the mathematics, because once you understand the forces at work during this decade, everything else clicks into place. Your 40s sit at the intersection of three financial forces that never align quite this way at any other point in your life. The first is peak earning power. For most professionals, income reaches its highest point somewhere between 42 and 55. The salary jumps that felt exciting in your 30s slow down, but the raw dollar amounts are higher than they've ever been. A 45-year-old earning $120,000 has more actual material to work with than at any previous point in their career. The second force is remaining compounding time. At 40, you still have 20 to 25 years before traditional retirement. That's enough time for invested money to roughly quadruple at historical market returns. A dollar invested at 40 becomes approximately $4 by 65. Wait until 50, and that same dollar only becomes about 2.5. Wait until 55, and it barely doubles. The compounding multiplier drops sharply with every passing year. Your 40s are the last decade where meaningful compounding is still possible at scale. The third force is expense stabilization. By your 40s, many of the costs that were simultaneously exploding in your 30s have started to settle. Kids become more self-sufficient. The house you stretched to afford now fits your budget more comfortably. The wardrobe is established. The furniture is bought. This creates potential financial margin that simply didn't exist before. The critical question is whether that margin flows into savings or gets quietly absorbed by lifestyle expansion. These three forces combined create a decade of unusual leverage. More income than ever before, enough time left for compounding to matter enormously, and breathing room from stabilizing expenses. Capture all three working together, and you build substantial, lasting wealth. Miss the window, and you face mathematical constraints that simply cannot be overcome later, no matter how hard you try. Let me show you what the numbers actually look like. Imagine someone who reaches 40 with $100,000 already saved for retirement. They earn $110,000 a year and could reasonably save 15% of their income, $165,000 annually. If they do exactly that from 40 to 65, investing in diversified indexed funds at historical returns, they accumulate approximately $1.35 million by retirement. Combined with Social Security, they're looking at genuine comfort and real margin. Now imagine this same person, same starting point, but they only save 5% during their 40s, telling themselves they'll catch up later. At 50, retirement suddenly feels urgent, so they jump to 15%. Same earning power, harder effort in the final stretch. They accumulate approximately $780,000. That's $570,000 less from just 1 decade of reduced contributions. Now consider a third version. Same $100,000 at 40, but this person actually reduces their retirement contributions to fund a lifestyle upgrade. The bigger house, the nicer cars, the more expensive vacations. Their contributions average 2% through their 40s. At 50, reality hits, and they go aggressive, saving 20% all the way through retirement. Despite genuinely heroic effort in their 50s, they end up with approximately $590,000. Their comfortable 40s cost them $760,000 in retirement wealth compared to consistent saving. 10 years of trying to correct course could not undo 10 years of drifting. The decade of decisions created a gap that a decade of correction simply could not close. So what are these decisions, specifically? Let's get into the ones that matter most. The first is housing. Your 40s often bring a powerful urge to upgrade where you live. The kids are bigger and need more space. You've worked hard and feel you've earned a home that reflects that. The mortgage payments seem manageable given what you're now earning. This housing upgrade decision might be the single most consequential financial choice you ever make in your entire life, and almost nobody treats it that way. Upgrading from a $350,000 home to a $600,000 home typically increases monthly housing costs by $1,500 to $2,000. That's up to $24,000 a year that cannot be invested. Compounded over 25 years, that annual difference represents somewhere between $900,000 and $1.3 million in retirement wealth. The house upgrade literally costs $1 million in retirement money. I'm not saying nobody should ever buy a larger home. I'm saying most people make this decision without any idea of its true cost. They think they're spending an extra $1,800 a month on housing. They're actually spending over $1 million in future freedom. The second is vehicles. Your 40s often bring more expensive car purchases. The practical sedan becomes a luxury SUV. The reliable family vehicle gets traded for something that signals your success. A family running two $45,000 vehicles instead of two $28,000 vehicles carries significantly more auto debt, higher insurance, and more expensive maintenance. Over time, with regular vehicle replacement cycles, this premium costs somewhere between $200,000 and $400,000 in retirement wealth. The third is children's education. Your 40s typically include the most expensive child-rearing years. Teenagers come with cars, insurance, activities, and then college. Some families take on 6-figure Parent Plus loans to send their children to prestigious universities. Others quietly drain retirement accounts. Others simply stop contributing to retirement entirely during the college years. Each of these choices mortgages the parents' retirement to fund the children's future. The children graduate with their entire careers ahead of them. The parents enter their 50s with depleted savings and barely a decade to recover. The families who navigate this successfully often make genuinely uncomfortable choices, requiring their kids to attend state schools, seek scholarships, or contribute through work. They maintain retirement contributions even when college bills create intense pressure to stop. The fourth is career risk tolerance. Your 40s present real opportunities for income acceleration. Senior roles at new companies, startups with equity potential, industries where your experience commands serious premiums. But many people become increasingly risk-averse precisely when strategic risk-taking would pay off most. They've built seniority and comfort at their current employer. Starting over somewhere new feels threatening. But your 40s are the last window for meaningful income acceleration. By 50, hiring discrimination quietly begins affecting opportunities. The person who takes a calculated career risk at 43 has time to recover if it doesn't work out. The person who waits until 53 often doesn't. The income difference between staying comfortable and pursuing growth can exceed $30,000 to $40,000 annually. Over 10 years, that's $300,000 to $400,000 in additional earnings. The fifth is lifestyle inflation. Your 40s bring social pressure to visibly display success. Colleagues take elaborate vacations, neighbors renovate their kitchens, friends buy boats and second homes. Some families resist this entirely and maintain the lifestyle that felt comfortable in their late 30s. Others expand to match their peer group, absorbing every dollar of increased income into visible consumption. The retirement outcome difference between these two approaches typically exceeds $1 million. Now let me show you how all of this plays out in real life. David and Christine reached 40 with $185,000 in retirement accounts, a modest home with a balance remaining on the mortgage, 2 kids aged 9 and 12, and a combined income of $165,000. David pushed to upgrade their home. A house in a nicer development was listed at $575,000. Christine hesitated but eventually agreed. The upgrade increased their monthly costs by $1,650, and to manage it, they cut retirement contributions from 15% down to 6%. Just temporarily, they told themselves. 2 years later, David's car started having issues. Rather than repair it, he bought a new SUV. Christine upgraded hers the following year. The teenage years brought private sports training, SAT tutoring, and college campus visits across 3 states. When their daughter enrolled at an out-of-state university, they took a Parent Plus loan rather than asking her to choose something more affordable. Throughout their 40s, David and Christine never felt financially reckless. Every individual decision seemed completely reasonable. By 50, their retirement accounts held $240,000. That's only $55,000 more than they'd had at 40, despite a decade of contributions and market growth. With the kids finally independent, they panicked and committed to catching up, maxing out contributions aggressively. By 65, they'd accumulated $1.65 million. The house was paid off, they retired fully, traveled wherever they wanted, and never lost a night's sleep over money again. The mathematical gap between these two families was not created by different incomes or different investment expertise. It was created entirely by different decisions during their 40s. Here's what I find most striking about these two stories. During their 40s, both families felt equally satisfied with their daily lives. Research consistently shows that lifestyle upgrades provide only a temporary happiness boost. Within 18 to 24 months, people fully adapt to their new normal. David and Christine didn't actually enjoy their 40s more than Robert and Jennifer. They just spent more. The additional spending provided no lasting satisfaction while permanently constraining every decade that followed. So let me give you direct, specific guidance based on where you are right now. If you're in your 20s or 30s, you have something invaluable, foreknowledge. You now understand that your 40s will bring relentless pressure to expand your lifestyle precisely when you have the most earning power. Build the habits now. Establish automatic retirement contributions you never touch. Define what enough looks like before your income makes excess feel possible. If you're entering your 40s, you are standing at the most important financial inflection point of your life. Audit every major expense category right now. Is your housing appropriately sized? Are your vehicles serving transportation or status? Are you funding retirement before funding lifestyle? Every yes to lifestyle expansion is a direct no to retirement security. If you're in your late 40s and recognizing yourself in the wrong story, you still have time to shift the trajectory. Every percentage point you add to your savings rate from this point forward changes the outcome. Consider the radical options your lifestyle-inflated peers won't entertain. Downsizing now rather than waiting until retirement. Selling expensive vehicles. Pursuing jobs that pay more even when change feels uncomfortable. If you're already past your 40s with savings that feel inadequate, focus on what remains within your control. Delay Social Security to maximize your monthly benefit. Consider working a few additional years. Downsize housing to unlock equity. Every option still available to you is worth pursuing. Now let me address the psychological part of this, because it's the part nobody talks about honestly enough of. The reason 40s frugality feels so difficult is that it feels like you've earned the right to enjoy your success. After 20 years of working and building and sacrificing, the impulse to finally live well feels completely justified. When does the good part start? This feeling is the trap. The gratification you're seeking through lifestyle expansion provides temporary pleasure followed by permanent constraint. The upgraded house feels exciting for 18 months, then it just feels normal, while permanently draining retirement savings. The luxury car delivers a thrill for a year, then it's just the car, while permanently limiting your options. True gratification isn't found in consuming your peak earning years. It's found in converting those years into permanent freedom. The discomfort of resisting lifestyle inflation in your 40s lasts 10 years. The reward lasts 30 years or more. The pleasure of indulging that lifestyle lasts 2 to 3 years. The consequence lasts 30 years or more. Picture yourself at 70, a quiet morning. In one version of that future, you're thinking about which grandchild you'll visit, planning a trip you've always wanted to take, completely unbothered by the thought of an unexpected expense. In the other version, you're calculating whether this month's check covers your medications. You're anxious about what happens if the car breaks down. You feel the weight of a future with shrinking options. Both versions of you made their 40s decisions decades earlier. Both are living the consequences of choices that seemed small and reasonable at the time. Your 40s will end. The decade will pass whether you make intentional decisions or default ones. The only question is which version of yourself you're quietly building right now, one choice at a time. That's not a burden. That's one of the most powerful opportunities you'll ever be given. If this video challenged the way you're thinking about your financial future, hit that like button right now and share it with someone you care about who needs to hear this, especially anyone in their 40s who might be unknowingly standing at that crossroads. Subscribe if you want more honest, no-fluff conversations about money, decisions, and building a life you don't have to escape from. I put real thought into every video on this channel, and I'm not going anywhere. Now I want to hear from you, and I'm asking this question sincerely. Looking honestly at your own life right now, which of these 5 decisions, housing, vehicles, education, career risk, or lifestyle inflation, do you think has the biggest potential to change your financial future? And if you could go back and change one financial decision from your past decade, what would it be? Drop your answer in the comments. These conversations matter, and I read every single one. I'll see you in the next video.